When you look at the companies that really, truly last for generations, what is it that separates them from the rest? I mean, it's obviously not just about the money. There's something way, way deeper going on. So, let's get into it.
Some incredible research shows that the most visionary companies, the ones built to last, outperformed the stock market by a factor of 12 over decades, 12 times. That's not just a lucky streak. That's the result of building something with a purpose that goes way beyond just the bottom line.
And that really brings us to the big question for today, right? What is their secret sauce? How do they build a foundation that doesn't just help them survive, but lets them thrive for 100 years? We're gonna try and unpack that.
All right, so here's our game plan. We're gonna tackle this in 5 parts. We'll start with this whole mystery of enduring success. Then we'll talk about finding your company's North Star. After that, we'll map out the competitive landscape, figure out how to choose a winning path, and finally, wrap it all up with why this is a journey that, well, never really ends. Okay, first stop, discovering your North Star. Now, we've all heard the words vision and mission thrown around a lot of times like they're the same thing, but they are so not. And getting this difference right is like step 0. It's absolutely foundational. So here's the simplest way to think about it. Your vision is about the future. It answers the question, what do we ultimately want to become? It's that guiding North Star on the horizon. Your mission, on the other hand, is about right now. It answers, what is our business today? Why do we exist? So one's the destination, the other is your purpose for the journey. And this is where it gets really interesting. Thinkers like Collins and Porras break it down even further. They say a powerful vision has 2 parts that fit together, kind of like a yin and a yang. First, you have to discover your core. That's the yin. And only then can you create your future, the yang. Now pay close attention to that word, discovered. Your core ideology, which is just a handful of core values and a core purpose, isn't something you brainstorm on a whiteboard. It's the soul of your company. It's something you have to dig deep to find, to unearth. It's about who you already are when you're at your absolute best. And this quote just hits the nail on the head. This is the real test, isn't it? When the chips are down, if holding on to a value started to cost you money or market share, would you stick with it? If the answer is, maybe not, then it's not a core value. It's just a preference. Real core values are non-negotiable. Okay, so if the core is discovered, the envisioned future is what you create. This is the exciting, forward-looking yang. It's made up of a BIG, a big, hairy, audacious goal, I love that term, and a vivid description that makes that future feel real. That BIG is a huge, daunting goal, maybe 10 or 20 years out. Think about JFK saying, we're gonna put a man on the moon. Now that was a BIG. And this brings us to a super common trap. You have to know the difference between your core ideology and your core competencies. Your ideology, your why, should last 100 years. But your competencies, what you're good at right now, better change. They have to adapt and evolve or you'll become a fossil. They are not the same thing. All right, so you've found your North Star. Amazing. But you can't just stare at it and hope you get there, right? You need a map. And that's where strategic analysis comes in. It's all about understanding the world you're operating in so you can actually navigate the path from where you are to where you want to go. A really powerful tool for this is the PESTLE framework. It forces you to look outside your own 4 walls at the big picture forces that are shaping your world. Political shifts, new technologies, social trends. These are the waves you're going to have to ride or get crushed by, so you better know they're coming. At the same time, you've got to take a long, hard look in the mirror. You need to be brutally honest about what you've got, your people, your brand, your skills. But here's the key. A strength or a weakness is never absolute. It's always, always relative to your competitors. You might think you're fast, but if your rival is faster, you're slow. And this is where the classic SWOT analysis becomes so useful. It's not just a boring box-filling exercise. It's where you bring it all together. You take your internal strengths and weaknesses and you mash them up against the external opportunities and threats. This is where real strategy starts to form, by asking questions like, how can we use our biggest strength to jump on that huge opportunity? So you've got your North Star and you've got your map. Now comes the moment of truth. Now the rubber has to meet the road. You have to make a choice. How are you actually going to compete and win out there? You got to pick a path. And I absolutely love this quote because it's so blunt and so true. You cannot be the best at everything. If you try to be, you'll end up being mediocre at everything. The path to success is to pick one thing, one way of delivering value, and be the undisputed champion of it. So what are the choices? Well, Tracy and winner Seema identified 3 main paths, or value disciplines. You can win with operational excellence, product leadership, or customer intimacy. And here's the rule. You have to dominate one while just being, good enough at the other 2. Let's break them down. First up, operational excellence. This is the art of the well-oiled machine. These companies are all about delivering a reliable product at the lowest possible price with the least hassle. Think about companies like Walmart or Dell. Every single part of their business is obsessed with efficiency and cutting out waste. The second path is product leadership. These companies live and breathe innovation. Their whole game is about creating the best product or service on the market, period. They're constantly pushing the envelope, even making their own stuff obsolete. Think Nike. Their culture is all about creativity, risk-taking, and being on the cutting edge. And finally, there's customer intimacy. For these folks, it's not about a single transaction. It's all about the relationship. They win by knowing a specific group of customers better than anyone else and tailoring the perfect solution just for them. The goal isn't a sale, it's total, unbreakable loyalty. So picking one of those paths is a huge, powerful move. It's how you start to organize everything you do to make that vision a reality. But that brings us to our last and maybe most important idea. This work is never done. It is a never-ending journey. Collins Porras had this killer quote that building a visionary company is 1% vision and 99% alignment. Just let that sink in. 99%, that's everything else. It's making sure every single person, every process, every decision is all pulling in the exact same direction, day after day. And that brings us full circle, right back to that dynamic of yin and yang. The great companies hold this paradox. They preserve their core, their values and purpose are fixed like rock, but at the same time, they are relentlessly stimulating progress. Their strategies, their goals, their practices are always changing, always evolving. The core is the anchor, but progress is the engine. So we'll leave you with one last kind of wild thought experiment. It's called the Mars Group Test. Imagine you had to restart your company from scratch on Mars, and you only had 5 to 7 seats on the rocket. Who would you send? Who are the people that so perfectly embody your core values that they could rebuild the whole culture from nothing? The answer to that question, that tells you what's really at your core.